Hello, Gospel Community Leaders. Pastor Paul Bokel here. Almost Merry Christmas time. That's exciting. Well, we're already celebrating Advent as we wait expectantly for Christmas Day. I know that's been fun here for me and my family. I hope it's been a joyous time for you and yours, and will continue to be joyful right up till Christmas Day and even into the new year, etc., etc. With that in mind, our sermons kind of jump around. They're kind of Advent themed for the next few weeks, and then Greg Lucas is going to preach a standalone sermon. I'm going to preach a standalone sermon as we lead up to the Esther series. So they're kind of tied together now by the Advent theme. I'm not sure how they'll tie together after Christmas, but anyway, so we're kind of flexible there, and that's good with the holiday season because sometimes we may meet, some weeks we may not. For instance, next week it might be hard to get any of the groups together, and that's just fine. There'll be questions available for you guys to ask, but if you aren't able to get together based on the holiday, especially Wednesday groups, because that is Christmas Day, then that'll be completely understandable. But you're not going to miss anything really as far as things that sequentially need to be spoken of in order, such as with a sermon series where things kind of build on previous things. So just be heads up about that as we go along. This week's main takeaway is God's grace. And it was a powerful sermon. The sermon audio is not up yet. That might be another thing that is slow happening through these holiday seasons, but we're trying to stay on top of all those things. There's still a lot going on with the space transition, with the holiday schedules, and things like that. So anyway, but the sermon was fantastic, all about God's grace and the fact that the advance of the gospel and God's plan for His people is just His grace is evident in that, and that He takes us from where we are to where He wants us to be. He takes us from where we are to where He wants us to be. So that's exciting. Some great questions that you can speak through here with your group. Heads up to the missional question here. That's going to kind of talk into what you're doing missionally to who in your own personal life do you see as an impossible case, somebody that's just impossible to be saved. We talk about that a lot, but I think it's important that we keep those folks in the forefront of our mind and are strategically and prayerfully thinking, God, how will you give me opportunities, and how will I assert myself in your strength to have gospel conversations with these people so that you can save them by the power of your word. So that's important. Also coming out of that is kind of talking about how your specific mission, if you don't have one, now's a good time to talk about what your specific missional project is going to be. If you've kind of let that sit for a while, now's the time to kind of bring that back up in your group and talk about how are we going to, what's impossible look like, impossible by our own human strength, and not in some like just stirring up emotions kind of way, like, oh, let's go do the impossible thing, but more just in an appreciation for God does the impossible. So what is it, if we have a specific mission, what does impossible look like? And are we really trusting God to pull that off through the ministry that we're going to do? And if we don't have a ministry, a specific missional ministry yet, then what's that going to be, and what's impossible look like in that? So that's a potential discussion there. There's an extra question here that if you have time for and you're wanting to go into it, you can. There was some talk about the virgin birth on Sunday morning, and so that can be an interesting discussion. And then I included an appendix at the end, just a link to an article from desiringgod.org that kind of just briefly overviews why it's so important that we hold that doctrine. So that's that. So that's it for this week. The announcements are really, really important. I'm going to go over those with you real quick, but that's all the questions. We're $200 short on our incarnational giving project. So just mention that to the group. Say, come ready Sunday, this coming Sunday, the 22nd, with $10 or $15 or $20 if you weren't able to take part in this giving. We've already bought the gift cards. We've already begun to distribute those to the people who are then going to either buy gifts with them or give them to the families so that they can provide Christmas for their families, but we came up $200 worth of gift cards short in that. So Redemption Church has gone ahead and fronted the money, but that does leave an opportunity, $200 worth of opportunity for people in your groups and people at Redemption Church to still be involved in that project. So we'll have a Christmas box set up again next week. People can bring cash or check to put in that box towards that event. So mention that to your group. Mention the Christmas Eve service. This will be at the Orpheum from 6:30 to 7:30, and they can RSVP on the city so that we can be sure to have enough chairs for that. There's an early morning men's discipleship class coming up in January, and there's a break-in, or not break-in anymore, but a membership class coming up in January as well. So make sure you announce those things and address those things. All right, Merry Christmas. You guys have a great week.